What is up, Pal Fam? Welcome to the 100th day of covering the countdown to FIDE 100. In just less than 24 hours, the International Chess Federation, or FIDE, is turning 100. What could ever way to cap off this 100th day? I mean, like, counting from 1 to 100 at the countdown to FIDE 100. Then to take the most notable game from a very unfamiliar people, let's just say. So, we're gonna take a look between Gergely Szabo and the 19-year-old, I think, Nicodim-Cosmin Stepanencu. So, yeah, who would have thought about that? So, we're gonna find out, and this is the penultimate video of Countdown to FIDE 100 because we still have one more for tomorrow, and I have a quick message for FIDE as well. Okay, the game begins with E4, and then C6, D4, D5, and E5. Okay, I always do that. I always do that, but no. Sometimes I always go Knight C3. Sometimes I go Knight C3. And then if he goes here and here, and I go Bishop, and then something like this. But sometimes, when I go Bishop F5, I mean, no, it's a different one. Wait, E4, H6. Sometimes in a different one, I go Knight takes, and then they just go like Knight F6. I'd say like I gotta go for there, but no, that's a bad idea. Sometimes I go Knight takes immediately to give him a double pawn. But we're not talking about that. Better is Knight D2. D takes, Knight takes, Bishop F5, Knight G3, Bishop G6, Knight F3, E6, Bishop C4, Knight F6, and the position is equal, which would ever make sense after all. Back to E5, the game continues with Bishop F5 and H4, but the better one is Bishop E2, E6, Knight F3, C5, Bishop E3, Knight D7, castles, Knight E7, C4, D takes, and the position is equal indeed. So I think I'm just gonna go for captures, and then if he takes it, I'm gonna go for here because I'm gonna try to get rid of this bishop, because stating that bishop pairs are better than one bishop or none at all. So he has to go here. Maybe I'm gonna go for H4. That would work. Back to H4. The game continues with H5, Bishop D3, Bishop takes, Queen A5, Knight D2, E6, Knight GF3, Knight H6, castles, Knight F5, and C4. Makes sense after all, but better is Knight B3, Queen B5, Queen D1, C5, C3, C4, Knight BD2, Knight C6, Queen C2, Queen A6, and the position is equal, and it could be I could go over here, but I need to move this knight. But this is a bad idea when you go on here. So you're gonna move this rook first, rook, and then I'm gonna try to go for this one. So I'd probably go rook E1, Knight F1, Knight G3, but that's another defended there. So how? Or if I go rook E1 and then Knight F1, I could also go free the bishop, and if white is still uncastled, I can get rid of the queenside castle, but I think that's already not safe to castle queenside for black. Back to C4, the game continues with Bishop E7, G3, castles, B3. But the better is A3, Queen A6, Queen C2, Knight D7, B3, Rook FC8, Bishop B2, B6, Knight B1, C5, and yes, it's an equal position. Makes sense after all. But then Rook D8 and Rook D1, this is where it starts to go back and forth at the same time, because Gergely made a mistake with that move that you saw. Could have fixed it with bishop b2, c5, d takes, queen takes, king g2, knight c6, queen e2, queen a5, rook fd1. No, not queen. He's not gonna give up the queen. It's a bad idea. Queen a6, and that's an equal position. Remains. But there, c5 makes black having a slight advantage. However, Gergely also made a mistake with d6, c5. Could have fixed it with c takes, rook takes, knight c4, queen d8, knight e3, knight takes, f takes, c takes, e takes. And black's position will still remain in a slight advantage. Black is slightly better according to the... But however, Nicodim-Cosmin also grabs a mistake of queen takes c5. I know it gets the pawn like an exchange, but I think that's already a dead pawn. You can just save up for later. So knight c6 could have fixed it, king g2, bishop takes, c takes, rook takes, queen e2, knight cd4, knight takes d4, and black would have been in a better position. But there's another mistake by Gergely Szabo with knight f1. Yeah, I understand. I can probably go on here, and somewhat can also go on here. But instead, can go bishop b2. Yep. Knight c6, king g2, a5, a3, rook ac8, rook ac1, rook d7, c takes, and queen takes, and the position is somewhat equal after all, if it ever makes sense. Going back to knight f1, the game continues with d takes, which a bad move for Nicodim-Cosmin. Could have gone knight c6, and then bishop g5, d takes, queen takes, b takes, f6, bishop f4, king f7, and black would have been in a slight advantage. Okay, so king f7 continues the game, but let's go back. After d takes e4, which is a mistake, he gave up the queen. Yeah, and he takes the queen, and then rook takes the 8. Losing the exchange, or I think it's 10/8, so we lose the exchange by 2 points. And then king h7 and knight e3, which is another bad move for Szabo. If b takes c4, queen c7, rook f8, queen c5, rook d8, and that would have been an equal position. Yeah. Going back to knight e3, the game continues with queen a5, knight g5, king g6, knight g2, knight takes g3. I don't understand. Giving up the knight? Yeah, I can go knight h6 instead, and then rook f8, knight c6, g4, queen takes e5, knight f4, queen takes, bishop takes, and rook takes. It might be an equal position, but 2 pawns lost for black. And white would win, black would win here. But there's a seemingly interesting one I've heard. He doesn't do like this. Yeah, I don't know why. Anyway, back to knight takes, knight f4. It becomes an equal position, and then king f5, knight takes, queen c3, king g2, knight e4, rook f8, king g4. Another bad move for Nicodim. It's just starting to collapse for his position, but there's something I've heard again. How about I get the free queen, and then can only go knight d6. You can take this and take this. If he goes on here, and I go take that. I think it's an unfair advantage or something, but yeah. Going back to knight e4, the game continues with rook f8 and king g4. Yeah, I know about that. But knight d7 could fix it. And then knight h6, double check, king takes, knight f7, king f5, knight h6, and it would be a draw. It would be a draw right there. Okay, we're almost there. Bishop e3 continues the game, but knight h6 could fix it, sacrificing knight g takes, knight to d3. If he takes it, oh wow, oh wow. So rook f4 checkmates it all. But if knight d3 and he goes pawn takes, disaster as well. Rook f4 checkmate. So it ignores that. Knight d3, knight f6, make it a new main line. If he takes it, that's a bad idea. Rook takes f6 could fix it. King takes, bishop takes h6, queen d2. He has no choice but to give up the queen. Let's continue with knight takes f2, knight e5, queen takes, knight h6, king takes, bishop takes, king g5, bishop e3, king g6, knight e7, king h7, knight f7, knight c6, and white is winning here. Could have fixed it with queen takes a2, king h3, knight c6, knight g5, king h6, knight takes, king h7. Yeah. And it's always a bad idea to give the rook. I think it would have been like a drawish or something. Back to knight c6. The game continues with knight g5, king h6, knight f7, king h7, knight g5, king h6. Okay, let's see. Okay, and that's it. And that's the end of the game, with Szabo winning the game. Gergely Szabo wins the game because it's already checkmate at this point, in which the game would have been continued. So yeah, it's crazy and all. Okay, we'll wrap things up for today. Thank you for watching POW. Don't forget to subscribe and become a patron. Remember, patreon.com/Paul POW, and later is the POW Place vlog number, I think 15. Yeah, it's 15. Odd numbers were on Fridays, even numbers are in Mondays. So yeah, vlog 15 of POW Plays, Mario Wonder. And then on vlogs, and then tomorrow is International Chess Day. So I'll remind you once again, play as many games as you can, either online or over the board. If you want to join over the board games and be included in the Guinness and join FIDE in the Guinness World Record, you can check it out on 100.fide.com/GWR. And yeah, I'll try if possible. I'm gonna make a quick message for FIDE, the International Chess Federation, because they're going to stream the International Chess Day tomorrow. Also, we're not done yet. We still have one more for the countdown to FIDE 100, the year 2024. Wow. Alright, I'll see you for the most exciting day, the biggest day of the countdown to FIDE 100.